Good afternoon, Daniel.
Amy, hi.
I'd love to have some more positive questions to ask you today, but there's no real sugarcoating at the moment. It's the worst start ever to a Premier League season. At what stage do you think, right, we need to win one this weekend? And how do you keep the players' motivation and confidence up?
Yes, we are calmed and focused. First of all, it's always important to be honest. We're all not happy that we're bottom of the league. We're all not happy that at this stage we are there with 9 points. But we also know about the reasons anyhow. And yeah, there was one game where we were without any chance. Away game at the Etihad, and all the other games. It was not that the opponents played us out of the park. Yeah, especially also the last away game at Everton. We played a side who is currently sitting 1 point just away from being top of the league, and they have won all their home games. Yes, and when you judge the game really, really carefully, you have to say, so it's more like, yeah, we were perhaps struggling a bit in the first 15, 20 minutes, but we didn't allow them to have one chance. In the first half, they had exactly one situation. It was the VAR penalty, anyhow. In the second half, they buried the game. Then, after an individual mistake, and they had a counter-attack. Till then, we didn't give away one chance. Anyhow, we had more possession, had even more chances out of the game. So even this game, we were not without any chance. Anyhow, it's fine margins. Yeah? We know also about the tough preseason with the COVID outbreak. We know about the tough fixtures. Anyhow, it also, although no one really expects that you win against Man City and Liverpool and Leicester perhaps, and then difficult away game at Arsenal, but it does, of course, something with the self-confidence of a young squad. And it's more like we are focused. We are not happy anyhow at the moment, but we are focused. We know what we have to improve. What we have to improve is to show a bit more quality and efficiency in both boxes. I would say so in many, many games we are more than competitive, but we have to show a bit more quality and a bit more efficiency in both boxes. And if we can add this to our game, then we have all chances also to win many points in this league. So we are quite calm, not happy with the situation, but we are also fully focused and calmed and balanced, and we know what we have to improve.
I think there's a feeling from some Norwich fans that you're too easy to play against. Do you think that's fair?
No, so in general, you don't have any arguments when you're sitting bottom of the league and you don't have any points. So for that, you can't win a discussion anyhow. So you have no arguments, and you also have to accept the criticism. So that's also quite normal. But we are again quite balanced, quite leveled. It was not like last season. More or less, we were for 12 months praised on a daily basis. I didn't run around and explain to everyone how to play football anyhow. And right now, it's also not like we lose our confidence in what we're doing. So we believe exactly in our football, also what we're doing. Yes, we have conceded too many goals in the beginning of the season. It was due to a bit difficult preseason. Was due to the quality of the opponents in the first fixtures. Yes, but also due to some mistakes. Yeah, we know that we have to strengthen this topic. I think especially in the last games we were. In this topic much improved, but if more or less than each and every shot on target, and we played against Liverpool in the cup, they had 3 shots on target, and each and every shot on target is a goal. And yes, then in this moment you have to make sure that perhaps you don't allow the opponent any shot on target. So this is how you have to work, and for that. It's not like we were easy to play against, so otherwise we wouldn't be there with more possession at Everton and creating more chances. I don't have the feeling that Everton would say, listen, we are too easy to play against. Otherwise, they would have been able to create more chances against us. But we were lacking efficiency in both boxes. And this is what we have to add to our game.
Are there lessons that you personally learned from 2 seasons ago in the Premier League that you can draw on now?
If I'm honest, I wouldn't speak too much about lessons learned. You always want to improve as a head coach each and every day. So if it's a good season and you are unbelievably successful, you try to improve each and every day, and perhaps even a bit more out of bad experiences. That's definitely right. But we knew even 2 years before that it's the best league in the world, the Premier League, and we had 2 years ago into the season. And without any Premier League experience, we had just exactly one field player with Premier League experience at this time, and just a bunch of young lads. We were not prepared. We were quite open, and also honest and transparent with this. We got the feeling that we are better prepared this time around. We are still one of the biggest underdogs, the only self-funding club anyhow on this level, but we all got the feeling we are better prepared than 2 years ago, and we have a better chance to stay in this league in comparison to 2 years ago. We would definitely want to improve our amount of points in terms of what we have done 2 years ago. Yeah, it's still due to us to prove this anyhow. But again, it's also like the season's not over after 6 game days. After 6 game days last season, I can remember we were praised. There were wins against Newcastle, 3 goals, hat-trick of Timo Pukki, win over Manchester City, and everyone was buzzing and praising us and predicting, yeah, we will finish on the top half of the table, perhaps even with our brand of football, perhaps even attack Europe. We were quite leveled, and we also are quite leveled right now. So we're not happy, but we are fully focused. So it's not important where you are after 6 games. So it's important where you are after 36 games. And it will still be a long road to achieve what we want to achieve, and not an easy road. That's also for sure. But I won't leave the trust in my players. I won't leave the trust from what we're doing. So again, we are quite focused and not happy, but unbelievably focused, and we won't lose our self-confidence, and we keep going.
I think everyone can appreciate that it has been a tough start in terms of the teams you've played, Manchester City, Liverpool, Leicester, Arsenal, etc. Is part of the problem also that perhaps you don't know your best starting 11 and formation yet? There has been a bit of chopping and changing.
I'm not a believer in rotating too much in the beginning of the season. I never was. So once I was, even last season, we won the championship with 97 points, but there was always, you have to change a bit more anyhow and rotate a bit more. We won the league with 97 points. Yeah, and when you're then more or less like on the wrong end, anyhow, it's more like you have to change a bit less. It was due to pretty interrupted preseason, so many players didn't have any preseason games, and we are a self-funding club, and this means some of our new players arrived pretty late, even after the season was started. We had, for example, the situation that Josh Sargent and Christoph Solis, pretty important signings for us, arrived just in the last week before the season started. We had the situation with Ozan Kabak and Matthias Norman. Anyhow, they arrived just after we have played already a few games, and these were important signings for us. And yes, I was with all of them, not willing to throw them straight away into the mix. Just after one day, they have arrived and we had our first game anyhow, and then you are criticized, why don't you bring him in at this point? Important signings for us. Yes, and once you bring them in, it's more like, well, you can't change that much. So it was also especially due to that many players arrived pretty late. And it's also important, yes, we also, in the first 4 games especially, I got the feeling we conceded too many goals, and then you can't be stubborn and say, okay, listen, whatever happens, we are naive and play further on like this, and you have to adapt your formation a little bit so we don't change our style of football at all. Otherwise, we wouldn't be capable to have more than 50% possession at Everton anyhow, once we played the team who has won each and every of their home games, and is also just currently 1 point away from being top of the league. So we still want to attack the games. We still want to dominate possessions. Will always be our style. But once you feel, okay, the quality in the first games of our last row was perhaps not perfect, yes, then you have to find also some solutions, and can't be just stubborn and say, no, everything is, we have to stick to what we do. So you also have to be flexible. And this was also one of the reasons why we played, for example, yes, half of our preseason games in 3-man formation, especially to be prepared also to have not just plan B, but also C, D, and E. Anyhow, within our approach and within our kind of football we want to play, but within we want to be flexible. I'm still a believer that too many personal changes in the beginning of the season are not healthy for the group, because they have to find the rhythm and their automatism. But this was more or less due to, again, pretty interrupted preseason, a few injuries of key players, and especially also that many key players for us arrived pretty late. And for that, I also expect right now from the ongoing also a bit less changes anyhow, because I have the group right now together, but we will stay flexible. That's definitely for sure.